Good day everyone, and welcome to the first quarter lesson for grade 8 music. In this particular lesson, we are going to talk about the music of the Southeast Asian countries. Are you ready to listen? Then let's go ahead and start with our lesson. In this particular topic, we are going to talk about the music of the following Southeast Asian countries: the music of Cambodia, Indonesia, Laos, Malaysia, Myanmar, Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, and Vietnam. Let us first start with the music of Cambodia. Cambodia is one of the most beautiful countries in Southeast Asia, and it is also known as Kampuchea. It was the center of the Khmer or Cambodian Kingdom of Angkor, a great empire that dominated Southeast Asia for 600 years. Their music gained a worldwide reputation in the 1960s until the dramatic political problems in Cambodia. Art music is highly influenced by ancient forms as well as Hindu forms. Cambodian court music is roughly similar to that of Java, Indonesia. They feature choruses with large orchestras based on struck keys and gongs. Cambodian people also absorbed and adopted Indian, Chinese, European, and other cultures to suit their own traditions and tastes that resulted in a distinct Cambodian culture. The Pinpiat, as you can see on the picture, is a Cambodian musical ensemble or an orchestra that usually accompanies ceremonial music for the royal courts and temples. Music is always part of their court dances, mask plays, shadow plays, and religious ceremonies. This group is similar to the Phifat ensemble of Thailand and usually consists of 9 or 10 instruments. Here is a picture of a Pinpiat ensemble. We have here the different names of the instruments. The first one is what we call the samphor, a double-headed drum played with hands, and this is a kind of a membranophone. The second one is what we call the onayat, which is a xylophone, which is a kind of idiophone. Another kind of idiophone on the picture is what we call the ching, or their finger cymbals. Another kind of idiophone is their gong circles, or what they call the kongvong. And another type of membranophone is the skorthom. These are 2 big drums similar to Japanese drums. Now let's go to the music of the second Southeast Asian country, the music of Indonesia. Indonesia is an archipelago in Southeast Asia comprising approximately 17,500 islands. With over 238 million people, Indonesia is the world's 4th most populous country and is the 4th biggest nation of the world. Through interaction with other cultures such as Indian, Arabic, Chinese, and European, a wide range of musical styles has been developed. Today, the contemporary music of Indonesia is popular not only in the region but also in the neighboring countries. There are 2 basic kinds of Indonesian music scale. The first one is what we call slendro. It is a 5 equidistant tones in octave. And the second kind is what we call the pelok. It is a heptatonic or 7-tone scale with semitone. Both vocal and instrumental music in Indonesia use slendro and pelok scales. Polyphonic stratification is a kind of melody which is a result of hocket or interlock. Interlocking is a common technique used in gong ensembles. Irama is an Indonesian term for tempo. Indonesia also has the gamelan orchestra or the gamelan ensemble. This gamelan orchestra is the most popular form of music in Indonesia. There are many types of gamelan, but the famous Javanese and Balinese gamelan are the most famous. It contains a variety of instruments such as metallophones, xylophones, kendang, and gongs, bamboo flutes, bowed and plucked strings. Gamelan orchestras are used to accompany dances, songs, and wayang kulit. These are believed to possess supernatural powers. These are considered as their instruments of sacred, therefore stepping over the instrument is a sign of disrespect. Musicians bow before playing the instruments to show respect. These are the similarities and differences of the Javanese and Balinese gamelan. For the Javanese gamelan, they are used for court music, they are percussion dominated, and their style of playing gives solemn character. The Balinese gamelan, on the other hand, is used for sacred music. It consists of metallophone and mostly gongs. Sudden change of tempo and dynamics are the basic characteristic. Sounds are very bright and brilliant. Use of fast and rattling sounds of cymbals makes distinctive characters. You can see here on the picture an example of a gamelan ensemble or the gamelan orchestra. Vocal music is also used as ornamentation of the gamelan. It is also as important as the gamelan itself. Pesindhen is a female soloist singer who sings with gamelan. Gerong refers to the unison male chorus that sings with the gamelan. Karawitan is the term for every kind of gamelan music in Java. Now let's go to the third Southeast Asian country. Let's discover the music of Myanmar. Myanmar was known as Burma until 1989, when the country's name was officially changed by the military government that took over in 1988. Early civilization in Myanmar dates back to the 1st century with archaeological evidences of the few kingdoms of Tayekitaya, or what they call District Ketsetra, and the Bethano or Vishnu and Hanlin. The music of Myanmar or Burma has similarities with many other musical traditions in the region, including Chinese music and Thai music, probably because its longest land border is shared with China. The Saing Waing is Myanmar's traditional folk music ensemble. It is made up mainly of different gongs and drums as well as other instruments depending on the nature of the performance. Myanmar's musical instruments are categorized into two types: the loud-sounding and soft-sounding. The loud-sounding instruments are performed in open-air ensembles at ceremonies and festivals. Most of the Saing Waing instruments belong to the loud-sounding category. In this picture, you can see the other instruments of the Saing Waing ensemble. The first one, we have the ne, which is a double reed pipe. We have the pat waing, a set of 21 drums in a circle. We have the ki waing, a small bronze gong in a circular frame. We have the maung saing, a larger bronze gong in a rectangular frame. And we have the choklon pat, which is a set of 8 tuned drums. And another one, which is not shown in the picture, is the instrument siandwa, which is a bell and a clapper. For more formal and classical performances that are performed indoors, the ensemble may be accompanied by the saunggaok, the national instrument of Myanmar. This is a 13-string angular harp with soft sound. The patala, which is a Burmese xylophone, or the piano and violin, which are both introduced during colonial rule. In the picture, you can see the saunggaok or the national instrument of Myanmar. Myanmar not only has musical ensembles, but also an extensive collection of classical songs called the Mahagita. These songs are divided into different types like the oldest repertoires, royal court music, songs of longing, horses dance songs, worship songs for Burmese spirits, and songs of sorrow and music adapted from Ayutthaya and the Mon people. The Saung Gaok usually accompanies these songs. Now for the fourth country, let's discover the music of Malaysia. Malaysia is a constitutional monarchy in Southeast Asia. It is divided into two regions. West Malaysia, also known as Peninsular Malaysia. The second one is East Malaysia, consists of 13 states and 3 federal territories. Chinese and Indian cultural influences made their mark when trade began in the country. Trading also increased when immigrants flocked to Malaysia. The country is multi-ethnic and multicultural, which plays a large role in developing their culture. The constitution declares Islam the state religion while protecting freedom of religion. Multiracial groups that influenced Malaysia's music genre are the following: Malay, Chinese, Indian, Iban, Dayak, Kadazan Dusun, and Eurasians. Malaysian music is largely based around percussion instruments. It has multicultural influence and is believed to have originated in the Kelantan Patani region with a mixture of Indian, Chinese, Thai, and Indonesian influences. The music of Malaysia may be categorized into two types. The first one is classical and folk music. It emerged during the pre-colonial period and still exists in the form of vocal dance and theatrical music. Syncretic or acculturated music developed during the post-Portuguese period, which is the 16th century, and it contains elements from both local and foreign elements of Arabian, Persian, Indian, Chinese, and Western musical and theatrical sources. The Malaysian musical instruments are greatly associated with their culture and roots. Due to colonization, the stages of development of Malaysian instruments are great. They share some common features with Indian musical instruments. After the colonization of Malaysia by the British, the musical development was influenced by Western music. Musical ensembles and type of performances in Malaysia are the following. First one is Agung and Kulintang. This is a gong-based musical ensemble commonly used in funerals and weddings in East Malaysia. This type of ensemble is similar to the Kulintang of the Philippines, Brunei, and Indonesia. This is the picture of an example of Agung and Kulintang. The second one is the Kertok. This is a musical ensemble from the Malay Peninsula that consists of xylophones played swiftly and rhythmically in traditional Malay functions. The third one is the Dikir Barat. This is a type of musical form that is important to Malaysia's national culture. It is performed by singing in groups and often in a competitive manner, usually with percussion instrumental accompaniment or sometimes without instruments at all. The fourth one is Silat Melayu. This is a form of martial art that is similar to Tai Chi. It originated in the Malay Peninsula since the Christian era and is a mixture of martial arts, dance, and music, usually accompanied by gongs, drums, and Indian oboes. Now let's go to the fifth country. Let's discover the music of Thailand. Formerly known as Siam, Thailand is known for being the sole nation in Southeast Asia that has never been ruled by a Western power. It is for this reason that the country is also called Muang Thai, which means land of the free. History and geography indicates that Thai music is a conglomeration of ancient influences. Its musical principles or elements are basically derived from Chinese music, while its musical instruments are inspired from the Indian and Indonesian strings and gong chimes. The Thais combined and adopted this to their culture and created their own unique music. Music is theoretically based on the 5-tone or 7-tone scale system. It is not only confined to the royal courts but is also used extensively in dance, theater, and ceremonies. Thai folk music consists of simple songs with simple melodic lines. Its main focus in singing is the articulation of the text rather than the style or technique of execution. Songs of Thailand have inherently poetic lyrics which allow a singer or performer to easily define the melodic lines. It provides the singer the opportunity to improvise song text to suit the given occasion. The interpretation of a singer gives meaning to the sacred and spiritual essence of songs with free rhythm, while melodies may either be interpreted or written in the high or low register with long or short durations. Thailand has 3 primary instrumental ensembles that are similar to the other ensembles in Southeast Asia. The first ensemble is called PFAT. As you can see on the picture, it is a mid-sized orchestra that is performed in either outdoor style with hard mallets or indoor style with padded mallets. This ensemble has different types, but the highly ornate one is traditionally associated with funerals and cremation ceremonies. Other versions of the PFAT ensembles are used to accompany specific forms of traditional Thai drama such as the large shadow puppet theater, Nang Yai, and the Kon dance drama. Number 2 is what we call the Kruweang Sai. It is an orchestra that combines some of the percussion and wind instruments of the PFAT with an expanded string section. This group is primarily used for indoor performances and for the accompaniment of stick puppet theater. Third one is the Mahori. This ensemble is traditionally played by women in the courts of central Thailand and Cambodia. Because of these instruments for this ensemble are historically smaller. However, regular-sized instruments are used today. A vocalist performing with the Mahori is usually accompanied by the So Samsai. Now for the 6th country, let's learn about the music of Laos. This country is an independent state of Southeast Asia and officially known as Lao People's Democratic Republic. It is formerly part of the Indo-Chinese Union, also known as French Indochina. Wat Pha That Luang, Vientiane is one of its famous landmarks. The classical music and dance of Laos is highly influenced by India, Cambodia, and Thailand. Themes are drawn from Hindu mythology, the Buddhist Jatakatales, and local legends. The royal entourage of Lao kings traditionally included musicians, and a typical orchestra improvised songs with sets of tuned gongs, xylophones, a bamboo flute, and other wind instruments. The Lao orchestra can be divided into 2 categories. The first one is Sep Niai. This is similar to the PFAT of Thailand with instruments that are strictly percussive but also integrates the use of an oboe. The second one is Sep Noi. This is also known as the Mahori of Thailand. However, it incorporates the use of several kene, which is a large bamboo mouth organ and is the most popular folk music instrument of Laos. Traditional music, called morlam, is largely based around the kene. As you can see on the picture, this is an example of the kene and how it is played. For the 7th country, let's now learn the music of Vietnam. Vietnam is officially known as the Socialist Republic of Vietnam. This country is located on the eastern coast of the Indo-Chinese Peninsula. Vietnamese music, Nak Viet Nam, refers to the ethnic music that originated from the Kinh people of Vietnam. This term is also used to address the music of any of the numerous ethnic minorities including the Mont Nard, Degar, Thai, Cham, and others. Traditional Vietnamese music can be separated into a few major categories, divided predominantly by the way in which these were used in the people's cultural lives. The categories of Vietnamese music are: the first one is imperial court music. The most popular of this kind is the Nanak, that was popularly performed during the Tran dynasty to the Nguyen dynasty. This form of classical music is also performed in honor of the gods and scholars in temples. Other classical music falling into this category include the Dainak, which is great music, and the Tunak, which is small music, and it was performed as chamber music for the king. Another category of Vietnamese music is the folk music. This category is extremely diverse because it includes music performed both indoors and outdoors. Performers of this category are also diverse. They may be professional musicians down to the blind artists in the streets who perform to earn their living. Vietnamese folk music are performed in different occasions depending on its subcategory. It may be performed in musical theaters, streets, courtship rituals, and ceremonies for invoking spirits. They are sometimes also influenced by Western elements. Some Vietnamese music only makes use of female singers, and some have both male and female singers. The third category is the religious and ceremonial music. This is music performed in religious rituals or at funerals. For the eighth country, let's now learn the music of Singapore. The Republic of Singapore is an independent republic in Southeast Asia, comprised of one main island and about 50 small adjacent islands off the southern tip of the Malay Peninsula. About 3/4 of the people of Singapore are known as Singaporeans, are Chinese, but there are significant Malay and Indian minorities. The ethnic groups which made a prominent place in the musical world of Singapore have been Chinese, Indian Malays, and Tamils. Other minority Asian ethnic groups which have also made a mark in the folk culture of Singapore are the Cantonese, Hokkien, and Malay Bangsawan. Through the years, the music industry in Singapore grew, having Western-influenced performances by the Singapore Symphony Orchestra, as well as ethnic music performances, mainly by the Singapore Chinese Orchestra. Other performing groups with Malay and Indian influence are still prevalent until today. For the summary or the generalization of our whole topic, the music of Southeast Asia has been present since 2nd to 3rd century BC. Music is an important part of their lives because they use it for rituals, ceremonies, courting, and entertainment. Instruments in Southeast Asia can be classified according to the Hornbostel Sachs classification. Most of the instruments are percussive with an exception of some aerophones and chordophones. Each country's musical instruments or even some songs are somewhat similar to each other due to their history of trading and migration. Songs from Southeast Asia commonly use pentatonic or 5-tone scales or heptatonic or 7-tone scales. Alright, that is the end of our lesson for the first quarter of music and Southeast Asian music for grade 8 MAPEH. Thank you for listening and see you in our next lesson.